a how-to-play video for Caribbean Charters, a light, clever puzzle game. To set up the game, deal each player 3 cards face down, give each player a resource storage card, an objective card, and if needed, a rules card. Then place the remaining deck to the side, revealing 5 cards in a draft row. Finally, place the resource tokens to the side within easy reach of all players. To finish setup, each player selects one of the 3 cards they were dealt, placing it in front of them in play. They then choose one of the sets of resources depicted at the bottom. This player selected the 2 red and 1 blue at the bottom of this card. Gameplay is simple and straightforward. On a player's turn, they select one of 3 possible actions. Option 1 is to draft 1 card from the draft row or from the top of the deck and select 1 resource from the supply. In this case, the player selects the blue marlin from the draft row, placing it into his hand, and then takes a blue resource from the supply, finishing his turn by replenishing the draft row. The second possible action a player can take is to discard a card from the draft row or from his hand to gain a set of resources that is depicted at the bottom of the card. In this case, the player discarded the sailfish to collect 3 yellow resources and place them in his supply. And finally, option 3 is to put a card in play. You may play a card from your hand or from the draft row. To do so, simply pay resources equal to one of the sets depicted at the bottom of the card. Then, place the card into your waters in a brick-laying pattern. If junctures match when placing a card into your waters, a boat of that color is generated and placed in that location. The yellow boat is taken from the yellow resource supply, permanently removing it from the supply for the rest of the game. In addition to the 4 types of fish cards, there are also 5 types of feature cards, each of which generates wild resource tokens in a unique way. The game continues until one of 2 events triggers the end of the game. If the deck runs out of cards, or a supply of resources runs out of tokens, then each player has one more opportunity to play 1 card. After one final play, each player sails their boats. To sail their boats, players simply move their boats in play to matching colored cards, as depicted here. Any extra boats are set to the side and will count in scoring as well. Once you have sailed your boats, you can proceed to endgame scoring. Each set of fish you have in your waters scores relative to the matching boats you have in the set. If you have 5 fish but only 1 boat, you score 1 point. 2 boats would equal 3 points, and so on. In this case, this player scores 6 points for his 3 boats and his yellowfin tuna, 15 points for his 5 boats and his sailfish, 15 points for his 5 boats and his blue marlin, and 1 and 3 points for his 2 sets of tarpon fish. Additionally, he scores 1 point for each extra boat that he has generated. Then he scores 1 point for every feature card that he has in his waters. This player's total for all of these scoring elements is 50 points. The final thing players score are their objective cards. Each objective card has 2 types of fish cards depicted on it. Each type scores 1 additional point. In this case, this player scores 9 additional points for his objective card, bringing his total score to 59 points. Thank you for watching How to Play Caribbean Charters.